Hi there. So it's February 28th. It's day 59 of our Through the Bible in 1 Year series. We're still on Numbers. Let's jump over there and get rid of our splash screen here. We'll get into it. Today it's Numbers 11 through 13. The place named Tepera. The people began to complain to the Lord about their troubles. When the Lord heard them, he became angry and set fire on the people. It burned among them and destroyed one end of the camp. Wow. People cried out to Moses for help. He prayed to the Lord, and the fire died down, so the place was named Tepera. Tepera. Burning. Don't complain. Moses chooses 70 leaders. There were foreigners traveling with the Israelites. They had a strong craving for meat. And even the Israelites themselves began to complain, if only we could have some meat. In Egypt, we used to eat all the fish we wanted, and it cost us nothing. Remember the cucumbers, the watermelons, the leeks, the onions, the garlic we had. But now our strength is gone. There is nothing at all to eat. Nothing but this manna day after day. What's amazing is they had all these animals, okay? They were sacrificing thousands and thousands of animals. But there was no animals for them to eat? That's strange, huh? And they're still eating manna. Huh. Manna was like small seeds, whitish yellow in color. If it fell on the camp at night, along with the dew. The next morning, the people would go around and gather it, grind it up and pound it into flour, then boil it and make it into flat cakes. It tastes like bread baked with olive oil. Moses heard all the people complaining as they stood around in groups at the entrances of their tents. He was distressed because the Lord had become angry with them. And he said to the Lord, why have you treated me so badly? Why are you displeased with me? Why have you given me the responsibility for all these people? I didn't create them or bring them to birth. Why should you ask me to act like a nurse and carry them in my arms like babies all the way to the land you promised to their ancestors? Where could I get enough meat for all these people? They keep whining and asking for meat. I can't be responsible for all these people myself. It's too much for me. If you're going to treat me like this, have pity on me and kill me, so that I won't have to endure your cruelty any longer. Wow. Moses complaining to God. How do you like that? The Lord said to Moses, assemble 70 respected men who are recognized as leaders of the people. Bring them to me at the tent of my presence, and tell them to stand there beside you. I will come down and speak with you there, and I will take some of the spirit I have given you and give it to them. They can help you bear the responsibility for these people, and you will not have to bear it alone. Now tell the people, purify yourselves, for tomorrow you will have meat to eat. The Lord has heard you whining, and saying that you wished you had some meat, and that you were better off in Egypt. Now the Lord will give you meat, and you will have to eat it. You will have to eat it not just for 1 or 2 days, or 5 or 10 or 20 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your ears. You have to eat meat till it comes out of your ears, until you are sick of it. This will happen because you have rejected the Lord who is here among you, and have complained to him that you never should have left Egypt. Yeah, he didn't like that. Moses said to the Lord, here I am leading 600,000 people, and you said that you will give me enough meat for a month. Could enough cattle and sheep be killed to satisfy them? Are all the fish in the sea enough for them? Is there a limit to my power? The Lord answered, you will soon see whether what I have said will happen or not. Right. So Moses went out and told the people what the Lord had said. He assembled 70 of the leaders and placed them around the tent. Then the Lord came down in a cloud and spoke to him. He took some of the spirit he had given to Moses and gave it to the 70 leaders. When the Spirit came on them, they began to shout like prophets, but not for long. 2 of the 70 leaders, Eldad and Medad, here we go with the names again, had stayed in the camp and had not gone out to the tent. There in the camp, the Spirit came on them, and they too began to shout like prophets. A young man ran out to tell Moses what Eldad and Medad were doing. Then Joshua, son of Nun, who had been Moses' helper since he was a young man, spoke up and said to Moses, stop them, sir. Moses answered, are you concerned about my interest? I wish that the Lord would give his spirit to all these people and make all of them shout like prophets. Then Moses and the 70 leaders of Israel went back to camp. The Lord sends quails, millions and millions of them, no doubt. Suddenly the Lord sent a wind that brought quails from the sea, flying 3 feet above the ground. They settled on the camp and all around it for miles and miles in every direction. So all that day, all that night, and all the next day, the people worked catching quails. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. 50 bushels. They spread them out to dry all around the camp. While there was still plenty of meat for them to eat, the Lord became angry with the people and caused an epidemic to break out among them. The place was named Kilbrah Hatava, which means graves of craving, because there they buried the people who had craved meat. What? So they killed them and buried the ones who craved meat? Let's read that again. Suddenly the Lord sent a wind that brought quails from the sea, flying 3 feet above the ground. They settled in the camp and all around it for miles and miles in every direction. So all that day, all night, and all the next day, the people worked catching quails. No one gathered less than 50 bushels. They spread them out to dry all around the camp. While there was still plenty of meat for them to eat, the Lord became angry with the people and caused an epidemic to break out among them. And that place was named Kilbrah, graves of craving, because there they buried the people who had craved meat. From there, the people moved to Hazareth, where they made camp. Wow. There you go. Miriam is punished. Moses had married a Cushite. What's that? Midianite or Ethiopian woman, and Miriam and Aaron criticized him for it. They said, that, "Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he also spoken through us?" The Lord heard what they said. Moses was a humble man, more humble than anyone else on earth. Wow. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, "I want the 3 of you to come out to the tent of my presence." They went, and the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance of the tent and called out, "Aaron, Miriam." The 2 of them stepped forward, and the Lord said, "Now hear what I have to say. When there are prophets among you, I reveal myself to them in visions and speak to them in dreams. It is different when I speak to my servant Moses. I have put him in charge of all my people, Israel. So I speak to him face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. He has even seen my form. How dare you speak against my servant Moses?" Wow. The Lord was angry with them, and so, as he departed, and the cloud left the tent, Miriam's skin was suddenly covered with a dreaded disease, and it turned as white as snow. When Aaron looked at her and saw that she was covered with the disease, he said to Moses, "Please, sir, do not make us suffer this punishment for our foolish sin. Don't let her become like something born dead with half its flesh eaten away." So Moses cried out to the Lord, "O God, heal her." The Lord answered, "If her father had spit in her face, she would have to bear her disgrace for 7 days. So let her be shut out of the camp for a week, and after that she can be brought back in." Miriam was shut out of the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move on until she was brought back in. Then they left Hazareth and came and set up camp in the wilderness of Paran. Okay, verse 13, the spies. The Lord said to Moses, "Choose one of the leaders from each of the 12 tribes and send them as spies to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites." Moses obeyed from the wilderness of Paran and set out leaders as follows. There you go. This of this and son of this. We're not going to read all this. We're just going to read Reuben, Simeon, Judah, Issachar, Ephraim. These are the tribes. Okay. Benjamin, Zebulun. This are the 12 tribes. Okay. And he sent out Shema, Shaphat, Caleb, Ego, Hosea, Palti, Gideon, Gadi, Amiel, Shur, Neber, Guel. Never heard of any of these people. So these are the spies Moses sent to explore the land. He changed the name of Hosea to Nun. He changed the name of Hosea, son of Nun, to Joshua. We've all heard the name Joshua, huh? Now, which one was he? Yeah, Ephraim. When Moses sent them out, he said to them, "Go north from here into the southern part of the land of Canaan, and then on into the hill country. Find out what kind of country it is, how many people live there, and how strong they are. Find out whether the land is good or bad, or whether the people live in open towns or in fortified cities. Find out whether the soil is fertile and whether the land is wooded, and be sure to bring back some of the fruit that grows there." It was a season when grapes were beginning to ripen. So the men went north and explored the land from the wilderness of Zin in the south all the way to Rehob, near Hamath Pass in the north. They went first into the southern part of the land and came to Hebron, where the clans of Enaman, Shenaman, and the descendants of a race of giants called the Anakim lived. Descendants of a race of giants. Hey, there's giants. There's starting to be a lot of talk about giants because they're starting to find evidence. Hebron was founded 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. They came to Eshcol Valley, and there they cut off a branch which had one bunch of grapes on it, so heavy that it took 2 men to carry it on a pole between them. Yeah. They also brought back some pomegranates and figs. The place was named Eshcol Valley because of the bunch of grapes the Israelites cut off there. After exploring the land for 40 days, the spies returned to Moses, Aaron, and the whole community of Israel in Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran. They reported what they had seen and showed them the fruit they had brought. They told Moses, "We explored the land and found it to be rich and fertile. Here is some of its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and their cities are very large and well fortified. Even worse, we saw the descendants of the giants there. Amalekites live in the southern part of the land. Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan River." Caleb silenced the people who were complaining against Moses and said, "We should attack now and take the land. We are strong enough to conquer it." But the men who had gone with Caleb said, "No, we are not strong enough to attack them. The people there are more powerful than we are." So they spread a false report among the Israelites about the land they had explored. They said, "The land doesn't even produce enough to feed the people who live there. Everyone we saw was very tall. And we even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. We felt as small as grasshoppers." And that is how we must have looked at them. So, you get 1 million people, you get a pretty big crowd, like, well, you can beat them, and, you really can't. Not without God's help. So they told them stories, and these stories are probably told today, giants and people like grasshoppers. So, that's day 59, Numbers 11 through 13. Interesting stuff. The story's getting kind of interesting now. So, tomorrow, the last day of the month, people complain again. Man, these people, God's right there living with them, and they're complaining. Moses prays for the people. The Lord punishes the people for complaining. Don't complain. The first attempt to invade the land. Laws about sacrifice. Oh, look, more laws. The man who broke the Sabbath. Rules about tassels. Why are they rules about tassels? Okay. Well, that's what's going on. And that's what we'll do. That's day 59. Got the whole rest of the year to go, but we'll cover the whole thing. We'll cover it all. Be sure and catch up on anything you may have missed. Even though some of the numbers is very boring. If you're not into genealogy and rules and laws and stuff, which I'm not, to be honest. It's, just getting through it is an accomplishment. So, and we've gotten through most of it. So in this part, stories are starting. So, catch up, give us a like if you think about it. Until tomorrow, we'll do it all over again. See you later.